There we go. So today we're basically going to be talking about coloring hair, fur, and feathers. And we're doing it a little bit differently than I wanted to. I want to teach you guys how to give something a little bit more texture. So when it comes to hair, in most coloring books, the artists already draw in the lines for the hair. But if you were to find a book that didn't have any of those lines and it was just empty space, then you could texturize it yourself. But I don't have any books that have just blank space in the hair part, so I'm gonna basically just teach you guys how to add like a shine to the hair and to kind of add to it a little bit. And we're gonna incorporate the shading and the highlighting that we learned last week, as well as blending to kind of give her some funky hair. I'm gonna do like purple and pinks and stuff, so it's gonna look really cool. Then I'm working with that in Dagdrommar by Hannah Carlson. So if any of you guys have that book, that's what I'm gonna be working in. There's tons of girls with hair in that book, so that's why I picked that one. And then for the other two things I'm doing for fur and feathers, I'm gonna work in Enchanted Forest. Because there's a lot more animals and stuff to choose from in there. And yeah, so actually, there's a cat in Dagdrommar that maybe I'll do. He might be a little bit easier because it kind of gives you like a pattern in the cat to help with texturizing it. So maybe we'll do that one. So let's get started, I guess. Real quick, let's just see how many people are on here. Again, if you're watching this and it's not live, I'm just talking to the people that are commenting and watching it live. So Robin's on here. Hi, Robin. Hi, Katrina. If you guys haven't watched me live before, basically, I just wait till we get a few more watchers in, and then I go ahead and start the lesson. Again, if you're just coming on, if you have Dagdrommar, you can pull it out if you want to do it along with me. If not, that's totally fine. And then we're going to work in Enchanted Forest with either, I don't know if I want to do the feather page or the crow page to kind of give you guys a lesson with feathers. But if you have any of those books, just pull them out and pull any pencils you want out. I'm also just getting over being sick, so if I sound really gross, it's because yesterday, oh my god, I'm glad this lesson wasn't yesterday because literally my face was leaking. Like, I'm not kidding. So I would not have been able to do it today if it was like that today. I'm just stuffed up basically, and but I'm okay. Like, I'm not. It wasn't like yesterday. I was like running for tissues every 5 seconds. It was ridiculous. Hi, Christy. Christy says, "Hey, beautiful, can I get your number?" She's a wild one. Marina just joined us. Okay, so I'm gonna switch the phone onto my clamp, my phone holder, so just bear with me while I do that real quick. Perfect. Don't know. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. It's like really annoying, this phone clip. Oh, I feel like I have like a hair, like a fuzz on my mouth. Sorry. Okay. Oh, that was gross. Do you ever like have that happen? Like you get like a hair on your tongue and you can't get it off. Oh my god, that is so annoying. That would happen to me like while I'm trying to do this on camera. Okay. So this is the page in Dagdrommar that we're going to be doing. And it's it's like almost halfway in. So if you want to work in this one, you totally can. Or it's really like whatever book you have that has hair. Hang on 1 second, because my daughter just woke up from her nap. So I'm just letting my husband know so that he can go grab her. Ooh, I got the hair off. Okay. So, hair. This is what I was talking about. So, most coloring books, it'll be pre-textured, and there's nothing you can really do about that. But you can either add to it on the outside, like maybe like do some little frilly hairs or whatever, and you can just give it some really nice definition in here. So you can go and color individual lines. Like, that's totally up to you. But I'm going to group large chunks together. And I'm kind of going to make this like her main braid. A more solid color. Blended with a dark purple and a light purple polychromos pencil. I'm using blue violet and purple violet. And then within the rest of her hair, I'm kind of going to blend purple and some pink in there. So what we're going to do is start with the lightest color. So remember last week how we discussed lighting and how you get a highlight and make it look like something shiny, like a sheened effect. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from the bottoms and work our way up to the middle. And we're going to start at the tops and work our way down. So I don't know if you can see that or not very well. The light's really bright. You'll probably start to see it once I start adding a little bit more color. So with hair, where it's close to where there's like a fold or something overlapping it, that's where it's going to be the darkest. And then as you move towards the middle, you lighten up. And that's how you get that shiny effect. And you do the same at the top. And you kind of just work your way towards the middle. And as you get to the middle, you're putting almost no color down. Okay, so you can kind of see the sheen appearing where there's almost like no color there. So it looks like her hair's shiny. And then what you're going to do is you're going to add a little bit of a darker purple, or whatever color you're using, really doesn't matter. I like the ideas of purples in her hair. And you're going to give it a little bit of a shaded look. And that's what's going to add a little bit of definition to her hair. Okay, and then you're going to do the same at the top. And this is basically, whatever picture you're working on, this is going to be like the same concept for any hair. Robin just said that her Dagdrommar was literally just delivered. That's fantastic. Perfect timing. Okay, so you can kind of see that coming about in the middle, that sheened look. I'm going to add a little bit more color to kind of make it a little bit more vibrant. And again, lighten up as I get towards the middle. I really love this book. This is like one of the books that I cheat on with JB. The paper's just really nice, and it's kind of deceiving. It like looks really thin, because you can kind of see the image through the next page, but it's really thick paper and it's really nice. So that's pretty much, that part's basically done. So you can kind of see that shiny look to it. It's a lot brighter in person. It's not really showing up that great on the camera just because it's so... Hang on, I'm going to see what happens when I turn this light off. Let me see what happens, how dark it gets. I'm waiting to see how it looks, because I'm delayed. So I'm just waiting to see how it looks on the screen. Okay. That's still bright on the screen, so I'm going to leave that light off then, because it makes it look a little bit more vibrant without that bright light. Okay, so we'll just go to the next one. So you can kind of see a little bit more than just one section done. I'll probably just do her whole braid, just so you can kind of see how doing this brings shape to her hair. Because if you're just looking at it, maybe without color, it doesn't really look like a braid, but when it's colored in, it will. And again, I'm just grouping all of these together and kind of eyeballing where the middle is. Now, I'm going to bring in this piece of paper. If you're wondering what I'm doing with the pencil, you use this kind of motion, like a quick flick of the wrist, to kind of give it that hair effect. So it's a really quick, heavy down at the bottom, and then as you flick up, you lighten your pressure like that. So it's like flicking. So that's basically what I'm doing here. I'm just flicking. And it works really nicely. Christy says, are you doing light layers when you hold your hand back further on the pencil like you explained before? Yes. So I don't put a lot of pressure down ever when I color. I'm a very light-handed person because I like to add layers. When it's stuff like this, I usually only do like a couple layers. I don't really worry about, layering too much. I'm blending colors together, so that's where my layering is coming in. So, yes, when I hold it up, it's just holding a pencil up at near the top or like the middle, not all the way at the base of the pencil. It automatically gives you a lighter hand. So that's why I like doing that. Okay. I'm also going to show you the effect adding black towards where it would be really heavily shaded. Tina asks if I would use a third color. You don't have to. I can make a nice transition with just 2 pencils. I can even do it with 1 pencil. If you need 3, the rule of thumb usually is 2 or 3. So if you want 3 colors, you can. I usually use, if I only want 2 colors, then I just use 2. But you can really do however many colors you want. I'm going to use 3 with the rest of the hair. I want the braid to be one solid or one main color. So what I'm doing here is I'm utilizing some of our lesson from last week and adding black in the heavily shaded, or like where it would be heavily shadowed, just to kind of show you the effect it would give and kind of make it pop a little bit more. And I'll be able to show you the difference. Because I'm just going to do the one side. So you can kind of see how much more dramatic the shadow looks now compared to down here with the black added in. So what I did was I added some black. I didn't come out too far. I only came out a little, like a very little bit. And then I blended that with the lighter color, my lighter color purple, and then came back in with my darkest color purple. And basically all I'm doing now is just blending everything out with my lightest color. I always love a nice smooth transition. So that's how you can do that with the black. You don't have to add black. You can even do another like a darker shade of the color you're using. You don't have to go as dramatic as black. I just like how black looks in this particular case. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep adding some black. I really wish I had a picture in a book that had a blank space type hair. It would be a lot easier to show you how to texturize the hair to make it look more realistic. But that's really hard. I don't have any books like that. I'm sure they're out there. A lot of coloring book artists, my goodness, sorry. A lot of coloring book artists will automatically just add their own lines so that you're able to color it in. So they don't really take that into account that you would want to add anything to the photo. They just want to add as much detail as possible. Oops, sorry, I just bumped the camera. So that's how you do that. I'm not gonna go and do the rest of the braid actually, because it's actually gonna take a little while. I'm a perfectionist, so it would take me forever to do the whole head. But what I'm gonna show you is with probably my pink. I'll just add it where I would want the color to be. So if you want to come off and add a little bit of like frilly hairs coming off, you can do that if you feel comfortable. So I'll like come off and like just do some frills coming off of her hair. You don't have to do too many. You don't want it to look too messy, I guess. But basically you just go in the direction that her hair is going. And then kind of like see how these are like hanging down. I'm kind of just making those, but making it more, feathery. I feel like that's probably all I would really do. But that's something you can do if you really wanted to, add your own texture kind of hair. And then this I'm actually going to come back to in the next lesson, how to do something see-through. And I will have you draw in the hair here. So you'll be texturizing your own hair there, because this is supposed to be see-through, so you should be able to see the hair through there. You know what I mean? So that'll be probably next week's lesson. So we'll come back to this picture again probably. So that's hair. And then the next one that we were going to discuss was fur. But real quick, let me just read any comments if you guys have any questions. Christy asked me if I would use black on shadow areas if we were doing blonde. So yes, you actually can use black if you want it to look a little bit more realistic. Shaded maybe would be look better on blonde, maybe with like a dark brown. That would honestly probably look better. And then I think that's it. Okay. So let's move on. I'm probably going to stick in this book for the fur. So let me just find that cat. I know there's a cat in here. There's a few cats in here. But there's one in particular that I was thinking about. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Okay. So this little kitten right here. I want to stay kind of zoomed in, so I'm not going to zoom out. I would have to lift up my entire arm of my camera holder to do that, and then I would have to try to reposition it, so I don't want to mess up the position because I like how zoomed in this is, so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So this cat right here is what we're going to be working on. So with fur is a little more difficult. Because you have to know, and you can even look at reference photos, you have to be aware of where fur is going to be longer and more scraggly or, sticking up a little bit, and where it's going to be shorter and more to the skin and shiny and not as long and scruffy looking. So you need to know where you would do short strokes and then, kind of like long strokes. So on a face of a cat, around the middle part, it would be more of like a softer look, not as textured, you know what I mean? Very short hairs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a light layer of gray. I'm going to be using 2 different grays and a black for the shadow. So I'm going to be using Cold Gray 3 and Cold Gray 4 polychromos pencils. And so I'm going to start off with the lighter gray. And I'll kind of just give a light layer on the face. I was going to use my pan pastels to do this first layer, but I'm going to do that in a separate video, a separate class. So I didn't want to do that here, but it's a really cool effect for using them as a base layer of color and then using pencils over it. It's really neat. Okay, so it doesn't really look like I added any color. It's just a very light gray. I want my cat to have a very light highlighted undertone, and then I'm going to make it a little bit darker with the darker gray. So I added a few layers on here just in circular motions. It's not textured yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my same gray that I'm using, and I'm going to go in the direction that the face is in, or that the hair would go in. So all this would be like down. So I'm just flicking my pencil. And this is just the lighter pencil. It'll show up more what I'm doing. When I use my darker gray. Sorry, I lost my words. And I've only done this a handful of times. So just bear with me. Again, I'm just basically flicking the pencil. And I'm doing it with the light pencil just so that if I don't like the way a direction looks, you can't really see it as well. And then I can go and make it more prominent with my darker. And I'm kind of going, what I'm doing is I'm going over the black line. And I'm doing that because eventually I'm going to hide the fact that there's a line there with some black. So I'm going to go in with my darker gray. And now really accentuate the fur. Now keep in mind, some of this isn't going to be textured just because if you were to look at a cat, a photo or whatever, it wouldn't really look so scraggly in the face. So not all this is going to be textured looking. You can start to kind of see the lines showing up. And I like the technique just because it doesn't make your animal look so flat looking. It kind of gives him a little bit of definition. I'm just going to color some of his ear too. Now, that's where you really wouldn't have textured. You would just kind of make it a flat color. And, shade it where you want to. Okay, so now that I got that done, I'm going to go ahead and add some black. Oops, sorry, I bumped the camera again. I'm going to add some black where she has, what are supposed to be like stripes. And I'm going to go in the direction of that, and I'm going to, again, do the same technique. Just short lines. And I'm going to go in that direction. So, what I'm doing is I'm basically going in diagonal, curling around, and coming back down. And it just gives it a very soft look. And you can start to see that I'm adding black where the line is, just so that it can be a little bit more invisible. So you can kind of see where it's starting to look like fur. I'm going to kind of blend that out with some dark gray. I'm going to go back with my black and just kind of add a little bit of strokes up here where there's more black. Now, oop, I did it again. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Now here I'm not really worrying about, I'm kind of just winging it with the lighting and the shading. I'm just going to kind of make this like my lightest area and then kind of darken it as I go out. Again, I'm just blending with the lighter pencil and going in the same direction as the face is going. And then I'll go back in and add a little bit more. So that's really like all you really have to do with animal fur. Just learning to go in the direction that the fur would go, sticking in the same direction, just laying it down, to where it's not like going everywhere in totally different directions in like the same spot, just kind of being consistent. And that's really all there is to it. You can kind of still see the line, but when it's farther away, or if you're just like kind of glancing at it, the hair kind of just tricks the eye, and you don't really notice the line. And that's where you can kind of, make it your own and make it look a little bit more textured and not as, like, I don't know, really know what the word is, I guess, like, flat. Because obviously hair doesn't stay in a line. So that's where you can kind of make it look realistic. So I'm just going to stick with the head for right now for that one. If anyone has any more questions about fur, or they need me to explain anything else further, just let me know. before I move on to the next thing, I'm gonna switch books in a second. Let's see. Okay. So that's really all that there is to fur. It's basically just flicking the wrist and making little hashes across the page. So if no one has any questions about that, I'm going to move on to feathers. And feathers are actually a lot easier than you think. It's kind of like the same thing with, everything that we just did. If there's details added into it, it's a lot harder to kind of give it that texture. So feathers mostly will be shiny and like a flat color. There really wouldn't be that much texture to it. I mean, you can add in like line strokes to kind of make it look like a feather. You can even go like I did with the cat and go beyond the line. But basically, all that I really do with feathers is I do the same concept that I do with hair. And I kind of, use the blending or the shading and highlighting techniques and make it to where light's hitting the feather to make the feather look shiny. So I will start. I'll maybe do this one. This one's a little bit more open, so I can kind of, again, like texturize the feather for you. So again, always start out with your lightest layer. So I'm doing a bunch of blues. I'm just going to add a very light layer of sky blue. We're using sky blue and polychromos. And then I'm going to go to my next layer of color, or my next level color, and that's going to be cobalt blue. And basically what I'm going to do is start up here and kind of just shape the feather. And you can kind of extend a little bit and like feather it out past the line. If you ever want to, kind of minimize the lines a little bit, you can either use a white gel pen. That sometimes works, but it kind of comes through after it dries. You would have to really make sure you let it dry before you go over it with pencil. Or what I do is I use acrylic paint, and that hides it really well. It's just a very thin washed layer, so that pencil goes over it just fine, and it's not too chunky and makes lumps where pencil goes over it. So then I'm going to use my darkest blue. It's Indian Thream Blue. And this is where I'm going to have my shadow. So I'm just going to kind of color it just normal. And then kind of start my flicking as I get towards everything. But I'm going to stop my shaded flicking at the top. I'm not going to continue all the way to down here. I'm just going to, make my texture stay up here. And then I'll go back and add some more blue. So again, texturizing stuff is extremely easy. It's really all in the flick of your wrist. And then what you can kind of do to kind of, again, like trick. It's not really working that well. I would definitely need to hide the lines. If you really if you wanted to ever extend past the black line, I would definitely, cover it with something before you start coloring. If you didn't want to extend, you don't have to. It just gives it that more textured look if you wanted to do that. And that's really all there is to that. It's like really easy. You just want to be careful how much you do put in textured lines, otherwise they start to, just become a normal colored patch. So just be wary how many, line strokes you put in. That's really it. It's very, very simple techniques to make something, look a little bit less flat and a little bit more textured and real. I would love to sit here and color this whole bird because this would look so neat. But I really don't have time to do that. I have to go adult and do adult stuff, and I don't want to. I'll just show you how you kind of can get the same sheen here with these kinds of feathers, like in the hair. So again, just start off with, your lightest color and barely put any pressure where you want that sheened look. And then go in with your mid-tone. And do the same over here. And then use your darkest and just kind of outline a little bit where there's textured lines. I like that she does this in her books because it kind of gives you an idea where you want your shadow when she has pre-drawn lines like that. And then I'm just basically going back and forth between from the darkest to the lightest color. And that's basically all there is to that. It's very effective and simple to do. And it kind of, comes together really nicely. So, let me put these pencils away. Okay, so Christy asks, once you've done your dark texturing lines, would you go back and add more light highlight lines, or would you just smooth it all out again? Yeah, I just go and smooth it all out and make like a nice like transitioned blend. I mean you can texture it if you want to, you don't have to. Um, yeah, were you talking about like this part or this part that I just did? Oh, wait, now that I reread it again, I think I get what you're saying. You don't have to, you can give it a highlight. I just decided not to. But you can. You would just barely put any pressure. You would just follow your whole highlight down the bird. You just wouldn't put any really lines right here. You would just lightly do it so that you could barely see the textured lines, and it would still give it that contrasted light highlight to the shadow, and it would still look good. Here, ready? Let me see if I can erase some of it so that I can show you what it would look like with a highlight. Let me make sure. Let me see. So let me kind of fix that up. Okay. So again, just like kind of, I'm just kind of fixing it. And then just lightly add your lines in. So that kind of gave it a little bit of a highlight. And it's still textured. If I would have known to do that, it wouldn't look as messy if I would have did that first. But that kind of gives you an idea of what it would look like if you kept a highlight but you wanted a texture. So, any more questions from anybody? I'm going to flip this around now. Okay, good. I'm glad I could demonstrate what you wanted me to do. Okay. Okay, so we did fur, we did feathers, and we did hair. Another thing you can you do with hair is you can kind of like embellish it with gel pens. It's kind of cool to do. I usually sometimes do it with like a white gel pen. I'll kind of add like little highlights in their hair. It just like they're really simple techniques. There's really nothing to them. Again, it's just flicking your wrist, making textured lines, not filling in too much of the same area with the same color for the textured line, just because you would end up, coming out with a whole solid color and not any lines. So you want to, go in with a base color, always lay down the base color and then come in with a next level tone, and then start doing your textured lines and then do it with another darker one. And that's basically it. And use your light sourcing and your highlighting and shading to kind of give things a sheened look. And it's just really simple to do. So this video will become available. Oop, my finger's like on the camera. This video will become available as soon as I get off of here, and you can watch it over and over. And if someone's just coming on, you can even rewind now and watch it from the beginning. I have to go adult now. I don't want to. I have to go grocery shop and do some things, and I have to write up some answers to some questions for an interview that I'm doing for another blog. She sent me some questions, and then I have to answer them, and I really have been putting that off, so I need to do that. So thank you all so much for coming and watching me every week, and I love having you guys all here, and I hope you're learning something. I hope I'm not, going too fast or anything. If there's anything I need to do differently, just let me know. Comment on the video when it becomes archived, and you can just send me a comment and let me know there. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. There's a bell icon that you can click, and you can become notified when I come live so that you don't have to rely on either me telling you, because I'm really bad at doing that, or you don't have to try to go and scavenge for the link in a group or on my blog page or whatever. And I put these videos on my blog website after they're done every week. So that's another place you can find them as well. It's Coloring by Courtney. It's www.coloringbycourtney.weebly.com. I'll put that in the link description at the bottom of the video. Also, check out my Patreon page. If you like these videos, if you love seeing and learning new different things, and you like the content that I bring you guys, consider supporting me on Patreon. It's a really great site that helps creators make a living doing what they do, and that's www.patreon.com/CourtneyFarrow, and I'll put that link down at the bottom too. So thanks, guys. I will see you all next week. Next week we'll do something completely different. We're going to do skin tones, I think. So that'll be really interesting. And that's when we'll learn pan pastels. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.